I'll be recapping the application of digital mixing and plugins for the exam. So first off, let me just go to Logic, and I've got a very small loop, I don't have a lot. Let me just extend this using Alt Drag, and the reason for this is just to give it some variety. Okay, so it sounds like this. Right. Let's have a look at what it wants. So, first thing is basic use of equalization and dynamic processor plugins. Right there. So we're going to need our mixing desk, so we can apply effects. Audio effects are placed here. EQs are found here. The most common popular one is going to be a channel EQ. You can apply low cuts, shelves, high shelf and low shelves, high cuts, low cuts, located here. Or you can bring up bells to boost specific frequency bands. That's your EQ, and then your dynamic processors are all found under dynamic. You've got your compressor, your de-esser for your vocals, your limiter, and your noise gate to get rid of the quiet sounds in between the parts that you want. For this area here, you just have to use them. You don't even have to use them well. You just have to use them. For the next bracket, you have to use them to provide tonal separation. And the control of your dynamics doesn't have to be good, because it says without control of level through effective use of dynamic processors. Whereas for the next one, it's use the EQ and the dynamics processors properly to control the level of all of your sounds. We then go to the top bracket, selection and application of equalization and dynamic processors to provide control, balance, and tonal separation of all sounds in a musical mix. So there, it's really important to stress every single track should have EQ and compression on, EQ and some dynamic processor on. Or you might have used the gain tool inside the tool menu here. Either way, whatever you've done, as long as it's EQ and dynamic processing, you're going to have to evidence it. Take lots of screenshots of before and afters so people know that you've done it. In terms of tonal separation, what that means is when you have two instruments that occupy the same frequency ranges, for example, piano and vocal, or guitar and vocal, or anything that occupies the mid ranges, you can use EQ to boost that frequency band for your lead instrument and reduce it for your instrument that you want to sit in the background. So for example, let's open up the mixing desk. We can have a channel EQ on our clicks and on our bass, and we can reduce this area here on the bass and boost it on the clicks, creating tonal separation. The next section deals with other effects, so basic use of effects plugins. And again, you're just going to have to evidence this, but you just add them below here, and you can use any of these. So obviously, all up to your decisions as a composer and looking at what the brief wants. So, for example, if they're wanting something, that's really wide, you might look at imaging for stereo spread, or modulation like chorus, flanger, or rotor cabinet, or reverbs. Or you might want distortion to make something more exciting or more angry or more digital, like the bit crusher. Or if you have a guitar or a bass that hasn't been recorded through an amp, you can add a software amplifier. Guitar ones or software ones. So let's just add a bass amp on here. And then we can have a look through the presets. There we are. So we can get to the presets through here, or we can use these little arrows to quickly audition them to find one that's suitable for our goal. So basic use of effects plugins done. Now, selection of specific effects for the different sounds of the piece. That means you're going to be selecting different effects for different tracks. So we could add a delay, for example, an echo, eighth note echo, subtle wet. Let's have a listen to that. There we are. Selection of specific effect, done. Next bracket, editing is the key word there. Selection and editing of separate and appropriate auxiliary and inserted instances of the use of effects. So we need to edit the effects and we need to prove that. So I've just edited this effect by changing the amount of wet on there. How do I prove it? Well, I take a screenshot of before and take a screenshot of after. And then I say why I've edited it. Now, they want to see for this bracket here that you've used effects not only as inserts, but also as auxiliaries. So let's have a look at doing that. So an inserted effect is placed on the channel strip. An auxiliary effect is where you create a bus send, and then you apply an effect on the bus. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use bus send 8, just a random number. I'm going to rename this auxiliary as reverb. And then I'm going to place a short reverb on there. Just going to use chroma verb, and we won't hear anything because nothing's being sent to it. But as I turn this up, we can now hear reverb that's being applied, and we can see the signal's been sent to the reverb auxiliary. It's really important that you do this to get that grade, but also auxiliary effects should have 0% dry and only wet because the channels deal with the dry signal. So editing, prove it by screenshotting before and afterwards, and insert those aux and take screenshots of that too. Now the last bracket is selective and creative use of separate edited effects, both as inserts and as auxiliaries that provide depth and space to the musicality of the piece. So you have to use these tools in a creative way. That might mean that not everything has the same level of reverb. So I'm just going to duplicate this track here. So I've got 2 lots of them. And then I'm going to delete these. So now I've got some on this channel and some on this channel. And what I can do now is on the first channel I can have a certain amount of reverb, and on the other channel I can have less reverb. Let's have a listen to how that sounds. So that's one way of doing it. Obviously, you're going to have to experiment and come up with your own creative methods. Depth and space. Well, that refers to effects that create depth and space. These refer to echoes, delays, reverbs, stereo widening tools, anything that deals with space like panning. Moving on to the last section, evidence of the basic use of automation in changing the overall level of the piece. So that's automation to change the overall level of the piece. So this is volume automation. To access automation, we have to press the key A, and it automatically comes set up as volume. So now we can create nodes, bring parts down, and what this will do is it will bring the fader down. So, volume automation. The next one, evidence of the use of automation of volume of individual sounds of the piece. Okay. So that means we have to automate different tracks. Evidence of the use of automation of panning or effects for individual sounds in the piece. So sounds, you've got to do it at least for 2 different sounds to get this, and it has to be panning or effects. So let's just do some panning. So I want to automate panning. How do I do that? Well, here I've got volume automation. I'm going to drop this so I can access the panning automation, or I can use anything else by selecting it here. But if you drop this down once, it automatically goes to panning. So what am I going to do with this? I'm just going to add some nodes. I'm going to get this note to pan, come in from one side, and slowly move it around us. I don't know if you'll hear this because I'm using the laptop microphone. There we are. You have to do it for more than one sound. So there we go. And you have to do it for panning or effects. So there I've done it for panning. I'm going to show you how to do it for effects as well. So I'm going to get off automation just so I can go to my mixing desk and see what effects I've got. I've got bass amp, I've got some echo. Let's make it super obvious. I'm going to add a bit crusher on there. And let's play around with it to find what I want to automate. I'm going to automate the resolution. So this one I'm going to demonstrate a different way of automation. So I'm going to go to my channel, go to the automation section and select latch. I'm going to move the playhead right to the beginning. I don't need to press record to latch automation. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start it off by bringing this all the way down, press play. And then I'm going to move this. Going to go back to my automation latch and change that back to read, and now it should. Okay, and I found that there's an issue now on my first note. It's not loud enough, so I'm going to go back to latch. I'm going to bring up the resolution to around 4-bit. That's not going to work. So instead of latching it on, I'm going to get off the mixing desk, open up my automation menu, select option while clicking this, and there I can see my automation. Let's delete that one and edit it this way. There we are. So automation and then option and click on this arrow, or you can see which ones you've used here if you don't want to have lots and lots of lines of automation opened up. When you're done, you can press A to get rid of it. So that's how you automate effects for individual sounds in the piece. The last one is evidence of the creative use of automation in changing levels, pan and effects in a musical mix. Well, you're going to have to do this a lot. You're going to have to be creative with it. You can only do this through practicing and having a look at what the brief requires. Good luck.